You've been in an argument, a real one, with someone you love, and in the middle of it, your heart is pounding, your chest is tight, your voice is going up. What are you feeling?
Anger, obviously.
Are you sure?
I mean, yeah, heart pounding, voice raised, that's anger.
Or is it fear? Fear that the relationship is in danger, fear that you're not being heard, fear that you might lose this person. Or grief for a version of the relationship you thought you had, or embarrassment, or love expressed badly.
Okay, I hear you. Because now I'm not sure what I was feeling.
And that uncertainty is Lisa Feldman Barrett's entire thesis. Your emotions are not revealing themselves to you. Your brain is building them in real time from scratch, and it might be getting the construction wrong.
Oh, we are in it today, y'all. Welcome to Discourse, where we have a friendly chat about important stuff. I'm Andre.
I'm Chloe, and today's book is one that, I want to be upfront, took me a while to fully accept, because what Lisa Feldman Barrett is proposing is not a tweak to how we understand emotions. It is a complete demolition of a 2,000-year-old assumption, and then she rebuilds it better.
Barrett is a neuroscientist, one of the most cited emotion researchers alive, and she spent years running experiments that were supposed to confirm what everybody already believed about emotions. And instead, the data kept coming back wrong. And rather than ignore it, she followed it, and it led her here.
How emotions are made. Let's get into it. So, the assumption Barrett is dismantling is what she calls the classical view of emotion. And you hold this view, I held this view, virtually every person alive holds this view without even knowing it. The classical view says emotions are universal, hardwired, biological fingerprints. When something sad happens, a sadness circuit fires in your brain. Your face does the sad face, your body does the sad body. Same across every culture, same across history. Same for every human being.
Which sounds completely reasonable. Like that's just how it works, right? Everybody cries when they're sad. Everybody smiles when they're happy. That's just human.
Except when Barrett's team went looking for these universal emotion circuits in the brain, they couldn't find them. Decades of neuroimaging research, thousands of studies, no consistent dedicated circuit for fear, no dedicated circuit for anger, no dedicated circuit for joy. The brain does not have addresses for emotions the way classical theory assumes.
Say that again, slower. Because
there is no single, reliable spot in the brain that always and only activates when you feel afraid, or angry, or sad. The same regions show up across wildly different emotional states, and completely different regions can produce what feels like the same emotion. The map we thought we had, it was a fiction.
a fiction that we all just accepted for 2,000 years.
Because it felt true. And Barrett has a name for that, naive realism, the belief that our inner experience is a direct, accurate readout of reality, that what we feel is what is, but feeling is not finding, feeling is constructing.
Okay, so if emotions aren't being triggered by hardwired circuits, then where are they coming from?
This is where the neuroscience gets genuinely extraordinary. Barrett describes your brain as a scientist trapped in a dark, silent box. That box is your skull. Your brain has never directly seen the world. It never will. All it receives are these scraps, electrical signals bouncing through your nervous system from your eyes, your ears, your skin, your organs. And from those scraps, it has to guess what is happening out there.
It's guessing. Our brain is just constantly guessing.
Constantly, and not randomly. It's making predictions based on everything it's ever experienced before. Barrett calls this simulation. Your brain is perpetually running a simulation of the world, built from memory and past experience, and updating it with incoming sensory data. You don't perceive reality. You perceive your brain's best prediction of reality.
She's got this example, the blobs. You show somebody these dark, shapeless blobs on a page, and they see nothing, just blobs. Then you show them a photograph of a bee, and then you show them the blobs again, and now they see the bee. The blobs didn't change. The brain changed. It now has a concept to to fit the data into, and it'll never not see the B again.
Which is a delightful illustration, and also a slightly unsettling one because it means perception is not passive. Your past is actively shaping what you see right now.
And that extends to emotions, which is where Barrett tells on herself, and I love her for it.
The date story.
The date story. Okay, so Barrett is in graduate school. She goes on a date, and during the date, she starts feeling flushed, stomach fluttering, heart going a little fast, and she thinks, oh, I'm attracted to this person.
An entirely reasonable conclusion. She is on a date. The context fits. Her brain reaches into its library of past experience. Flutter plus flush plus date equals infatuation, and constructs the emotion, files it, done.
Except
An hour later, she is violently ill. She had the flu. The physical sensations were identical. The construction was completely different. Her brain had looked at the same raw data, racing heart, warm face, strange feeling in the stomach, and built a love story, when the actual story was influenza.
she fell in love with the flu. And look, funny story, but the implication is wild because it means how many times have we misread ourselves? How many times have we decided we were angry when we were actually scared? Decided we were in love when we were actually just anxious or tired or hungry.
Barrett has a term for that last one. She calls it being hangry. Your blood sugar drops, your brain registers a budget, balance, imbalance, and depending on what's happening around you, it might construct irritation at your partner or anxiety about your job or existential dread, when the actual story is just, you need a sandwich.
You need a sandwich. How much of my emotional life has just been sandwiches I didn't eat?
Rather more than we'd like to admit, I suspect. Okay, underneath all of this construction work, Barrett says, is a process she calls body budgeting, or in scientific terms, allostasis. And this is crucial because it reframes what your brain's actual primary job is. And it is not thinking, it is not feeling, it is managing your body's resources, predicting when you'll need energy, oxygen, glucose, and deploying them before you even consciously know you need them.
Like a treasurer running the accounts of your whole body every second.
Precisely. And when that budget is balanced, you feel what Barrett calls positive affect, a general hum of pleasant, calm energy. Not happiness exactly, just okayness. When the budget is strained, you feel negative affect, unpleasant, agitated, off. And here's what matters. That background affect is always running before any specific emotion gets constructed. It is the raw material.
So, when your budget is in the red, your brain is already primed to construct something negative. And then whatever happens around you gets built into that negative frame.
Which explains why the same conversation lands completely differently depending on whether you're rested and fed or exhausted and overwhelmed. The words are identical, the construction is not.
Okay, but Chloe, this is where it gets real serious for a second, because Barrett talks about what chronically drains the body budget, and one of the big ones is loneliness.
This is the part I find most important for people to hear. Barrett says we are a deeply social species. We have always relied on other people to help co-regulate our body budgets. The presence of a trusted person literally, physiologically, reduces the metabolic cost of being alive. Your heart rate steadies, your cortisol drops, your nervous system says, I can rest.
So losing a close relationship, losing community, ain't just emotionally painful. It's a physical event. Your body budget takes actual damage.
Barrett says it directly. Losing a meaningful relationship is literal metabolic damage, and this reframes depression in a way I find profound. A depressed brain is not broken. It is a brain that has been running on a depleted budget for so long that it has become locked into negative predictions, unable to update, unable to correct, stuck in a loop of its own prior experience. The misery is not a malfunction. It is an exhausted budget screaming for a deposit.
An exhausted budget screaming for a deposit. That changes how I think about people who are struggling, because it stops being a question of why can't they adjust, and it becomes, what has their nervous system been surviving?
Exactly. Compassion informed by neuroscience.
Speaking of things that help your body budget, I'm not even playing. Community is one of Barrett's big prescriptions, and that's what this channel is. Every week, Chloe and I show up, You show up, we think together, we question things together. That consistency, that sense of belonging to something that's trying to understand the world better, that's real. So subscribe to Discourse, hit the bell, make this part of your week. We'll be here. All right, Barrett's got more to say, and it gets even wilder.
That was actually a rather lovely segue.
Body budget, Chloe. I'm investing in y'all's body budgets.
Now, if the brain builds emotions from concepts, then a larger, richer, more precise emotional vocabulary means your brain has better tools to build with. Barrett calls this emotional granularity, and the difference between high and low granularity is staggering.
She uses the interior designer analogy, like some people look at a wall and see blue, and a skilled designer looks at the same wall and sees azure, cobalt, ultramarine, navy, each one carrying completely different information, different associations, different instructions for what to do next.
And emotionally, it's identical. Someone with low granularity has a bad day and constructs, "I feel bad," full stop. Their brain has one concept, one response, one action available. Someone with high granularity looks at the same internal sensations and can distinguish, "I'm aggrieved that my contribution wasn't acknowledged," from "I'm despondent because I feel disconnected," from "I'm apprehensive about tomorrow's meeting." 3 completely different problems, 3 completely different solutions.
And if you can only say, "I feel bad," your brain's only move is, try to feel less bad, however that happens, which is how people end up reaching for the phone or the drink or whatever, because the real problem was never named, so it can't be solved.
Barrett goes further. She points to words from other cultures that have no English equivalent. The Dutch gezellig, that warm, cozy sense of belonging you feel in a particular kind of intimate social gathering. The Filipino gigil, the overwhelming urge to squeeze something you find unbearably cute. These are real human experiences, but if you don't have the concept, if you've never encountered the word, your brain literally cannot construct the experience with that precision.
So, learning a new emotional word is genuinely expanding what you can feel.
Expanding what you can feel, and therefore what you can do. Barrett has this study, students who were taught to relabel their exam anxiety as energized anticipation, same racing heart, same stomach knot, completely recategorized, scored measurably better on the exams. The physical sensations didn't change, the concept changed, and the performance followed.
Recategorize the feeling, rewrite the outcome. Yo, this is not motivational poster stuff. This is brain science.
Exactly.
Okay, now, I need to talk about the part of this book that made me genuinely uncomfortable. Because Barrett takes all of this, the prediction, the construction, the affect, and she asks, what happens when our constructed emotions start determining other people's fates?
The legal system chapter. Barrett walks through the case of Djokhar Tsarnaev, the Boston Marathon bomber. At sentencing, jurors described him as stone-faced, emotionless, without remorse, and that perception, that constructed perception, contributed to a death sentence.
But here's the thing. Dekhaniev comes from a Chechen cultural background where stoicism in public, especially in moments of extreme pressure, is the norm, not absence of feeling, control of expression. His internal experience, we genuinely do not know. But the jurors looked at his face, ran it through their own cultural concept library, constructed no remorse, and sentenced him to death partly on that basis.
Barrett calls this the mental inference fallacy, the belief that we can detect what someone else is feeling by reading their face. We cannot. We can only construct a perception, filtered through our own cultural concepts, our own past experience, our own current affect. We do not see remorse. We build a perception of remorse or the absence of it.
And she's got the Serena Williams example. They show people a photograph of Serena's face mid-match, just the face, isolated, and people read it as terror or rage. Then they show the same face with the context of her having just won a point. Same face. Now people read it as triumph. The face didn't change. Our construction of it changed because context rewired the prediction.
Barrett calls that affective realism. Our feelings literally change what we see, not metaphorically, literally. A soldier in high affect, fear, adrenaline, threat, can look at a journalist's camera and, in that moment, genuinely perceive a gun. Not lying, not making excuses. His brain, running on maximum threat prediction, built that reality from the available data.
So the question we should be asking, in courtrooms and hospitals and schools and everywhere else, ain't just, what did this person do? It's, what was their brain constructing in that moment, and why?
And what our brain is constructing when we judge them. Both directions matter.
Both directions. That is a different kind of accountability.
So let's land this. What Barrett is ultimately handing us is not just a new theory of emotion, it is a new theory of responsibility. Because if emotions are built, not triggered, then we have more agency than we ever imagined, and more responsibility than we ever imagined.
More agency and more responsibility. Because Barrett says our brains are porous. We are literally wiring each other. The concepts you share with your kids, your students, your community, those become the emotional vocabulary they build their inner lives with. You are shaping what they can feel, what they can name, what they can survive.
And she makes the physical emotional boundary permanently irrelevant. Chronic stress, real, sustained emotional harm, shortens telomeres, atrophies brain tissue. Barrett is saying emotional abuse is not just emotional, it is a physical injury measurable in the body. And that should change how we talk about trauma, about relationships, about what we owe each other.
So, the practical takeaways from today. 1. Your emotions are not happening to you. They are being built by you, which means you can, with practice, get better at the construction. 2. Name your feelings more precisely, not just bad or stressed. Go deeper, get specific. Your brain will thank you with better options. And 3, check your body budget. Are you tired, hungry, isolated? Because if you are, your emotional construction right now is probably running on bad data. Rest is not laziness. It is literally data quality control.
And the question we want to leave you with today, genuinely think about this. Is there an emotion you've been labeling for years that might actually be something else underneath? This is just how I am. That might actually be a mislabeled sensation your brain locked in a long time ago. Drop it in the comments, because that kind of honest self-examination, that's the beginning of Barrett's whole project.
And if today bent your brain a little, that's on purpose. Share this episode because there are people in your life who are being imprisoned by their own emotional constructions right now. People convinced they're angry when they're scared, convinced they're fine when they're depleted, convinced there's something wrong with them when really their brain just needs better building materials.
How Emotions Are Made, Lisa Feldman Barrett. It is essential reading.
Essential, not optional. Read the book. I'm Andre.
I'm Chloe.
And this is Discourse.
Stay curious, stay constructively aware, and we'll see you next time.